I was asked to do some storytelling, and I think that's very appropriate because I see this theme behind me that says past, present, and future. And you know what? That's what storytelling is all about. Because the stories that I have are stories that have been passed down to me from my elders. And I am in the present telling these stories, and I give them to the future generations. And that's the way of our people. We are a people we have an oral history. And so I'm going to tell some stories. I don't think I have a long time, but as a storyteller, you don't give a storyteller the mic and say, oh, just tell as many stories as you want. Because I could keep you here all night. So I'm just going to tell a couple of stories. And, you know, I was walking in from the car, and it got awfully cold. The hawk was out. So I froze coming in here, so I'm thinking, I don't know, I should tell some winter stories. And one of the winter stories that I love to tell is just a story, a fun story. And it's a story about how the bear got its short tail. Now, many, many moons ago, it was a very cold winter. And the bear woke up, because we all know that the bear hibernates in his cave for the winter, but this one winter, the bear woke up, and he went out of his cave. And he was very hungry, and he came across, and he came across Mr. Fox. He said, Mr. Fox, who was holding a big string of fish, and he said, Mr. Fox, oh, I'm hungry. Can I have some of your fish? And Mr. Fox said, oh no, if you want some fish, you have to go get it for yourself. Well, Mr. Bear said, but I'm usually sleeping. I don't know how to get beer. I don't know how to get fish in the winter. I'm usually sleeping. Well, Mr. Fox said, if you want some fish, you go over there to the pond, and you're going to see a big hole in the pond. That's where I got my fish. And if you want some fish, you have to go over there, and you have to put your tail down in the hole where I got my fish. And Mr. Bear said, oh, good. Well, I want a whole lot of fish like you, because I'm awfully hungry. So Mr. Fox said, well, if you want a whole lot of fish, then you have to put your tail in there for a long time. You have to put your tail, you have to go there and sit, you have to put your tail in until you feel a tingle here, a tingle there, a tingle all around your tail. Oh, Mr. Fish, he was so happy because he knew he was going to have himself a good meal. He went over to the pond and he found the hole. And he got his tail and he sat down and he had his tail down there in the water. And he sat and he sat until he felt a tingle here, a tingle there, a tingle all around his tail. Oh, he was happy. And so he was ready to get up to go have himself a good meal. But there was a problem. For you see, it had been an awfully cold day. And the water had froze all around his tail. And so he pushed and he pulled and he pulled and he finally broke free and he got up. But there was a bigger problem. For you see, his tail got left stuck down in the ice along with all those fish. Oh, Mr. Fox had outsmarted that bear. And ever since that day, the bear has had a short tail. You know, we have a lot of really fun stories, but I'm going to tell you some stories. Well, you know what? First, let me start off with this story, because we should all know how we got here. So, many, many moons ago, we all lived up in the sky. And below was just the water, where all the water creatures lived. But one day, the Sky Queen, she went over and she shook the tree of life, and it got pulled right up from out of the sky. And it created a big hole in the sky. And she went to go look down through the hole, and she fell. she fell down, down, down. And all the water creatures looked up and they said, "Oh, look, look, a star is falling." "No, it is Sky Queen. What shall we do?" So two swans, they swam together and they caught the Sky Queen on their wings. But she was so heavy, and they said, "Oh, she's so heavy. What will we do?" So the great turtle, he swam up from beneath and he said, "I know what to do. I can help, but I'm going to need a lot of earth on my back." So all of the water creatures, they swam down, down, down to the bottom. And they each came up with a handful of earth, and they placed it on the turtle's back. And the earth grew to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south. And by, the turtle was holding the entire earth on his back. Now, every so often, the turtle gets a little tired of holding this great big earth of ours on his back, and he gives himself a stretch. And the whole earth shakes, and I know that you get frightened, and I know you call it an earthquake. No, but it's not. For our people know that's just the turtle getting tired of holding up this great big earth of ours. So he's just stretching. Well, by and by, they got the Sky Queen and they placed it on the earth. And do you know, she had two children. She had two sons. One was very, very good. And the other was very, very... You know this story. The other was very, very bad. Well, every time the good son would do something, the bad son would do something to mess it up. The good son would make a beautiful, bright sunshine day. And the bad son, he would cause it to thunder, to hail, to storm. The good son made a beautiful meadow and put some berries in it for us to eat. But the bad son, why, he put the snakes and the bullbriars, the prickers in it. That poor old woman was always trying to separate the good from the bad. Well, she grew old, and one day she did die. And they got her, and they buried her in the earth. And do you know that from her body began to grow all the things to sustain her children? And to this day, Mother Earth is still taking care of her children. She takes good care of us, doesn't she? Yeah. And so, as Seysham Hawk was saying, we need to take good care of Mother Earth. Okay? We need to take good care of her. And right now, things are out of balance. We're not taking care of the earth the way we should. And I want you to listen very closely. What you do to the earth, you do to yourself. What you do to the earth, you do to yourself. Remember that, okay? The earth, and when I talk about the earth, I'm talking about the air, I'm talking about the waterways. All of that sustains us. We need to live in balance with all of that. We should not be taking more than we can put back, okay? And it's not up to the next person to do it. It's up to each and every one of us to do it. And it's up to us to hold others accountable to do it as well. And if we're not modeling it for the children, they're not going to learn it, okay? So it's really important that we do this. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to sing a song. That was hard for me to get out because, you see, I was standing next to Michelle over here, who has this beautiful voice, and when we were singing with the drum, I was like, realized just how bad I sing. But this was a song that was gifted to the woman. It's an Algonquin water song, and it was gifted to us, and it's something that we were told to share, and everyone needs to know this song. So I actually.
hey ya ho, hey ya ho, hey ya ho.
The water comes down. We use the water. It goes back to the streams and the rivers. It goes back to the oceans and into the ponds. It goes back up to the Creator. So I'm not a good singer, but I've got my backups here. So, but it's a song worth learning and sharing and teaching to, the little ones, because we indigenous folks, I think we were the original environmentalists. So I just wanted to, do that little bunny trail, but. We were talking about the turtle holding up the earth on its back. But I want you to know something else about the turtle, and I don't have a turtle shell with me, but we use the turtle shell as a calendar. And if you count the small squares around the turtle's back, we call that a sun-up or a day. And it takes all of the sun-ups, the squares, to do, thank you. So each square here stands for a sun-up. And when you count all of the squares going all the way around, it creates a moon. And then there's 13 moons on the turtle's back, and it takes 13 moons to create what we call a great sun-up, or a year. So every moon, we have a celebration. We have a Thanksgiving. We are thankful for something because, as Sagamore said, we are a thankful people. And not only did Cortazeo, whoever, what was his name? Ferrazano. Not only did he see us with our hands lifted up to the sky, but the Creator saw us with our hands lifted up to the sky. And he said to our people, wow, you are such a good and gracious and thankful people. And because of that, the Creator gave gifts to our people, to the Pokanoket. And he sent 3 messengers bearing gifts. And I'm not going to tell this whole story, but he sent them bearing gifts, and those gifts were corn, beans, and squash. So that's how the Pokanoket got corn, beans, and squash. The Creator gave it to our people because we were a thankful people. So we give thanks for every moon, and we have names for the different moons. And, there are still a few of those moons that we still have our celebrations. We do about 4 big celebrations a year, our tribe does. And I want to tell you a story about one of those moons because, I think this is something else that everyone, should hear and, also do because, down? Is that good? Okay, is that better? I'm sorry. Okay. So many, many moons ago, there was a brother and a sister. They lived with their grandmother. And because they lived with their grandmother, they were very close. They did everything together. They played together. They worked together. They prayed together. But one day, this brother and sister, they got into a quarrel. And they got very angry at each other. And they turned their backs one towards the other. And they walked in opposite directions. The little girl walked towards the east with the sun at her face, and the little boy walked towards the west with the sun at his back. And by, the little boy, he felt sorry that he had quarreled with his sister, and he asked the Creator to turn him around that he might make his way back and find his sister. And the little girl, she felt sorry. She'd quarreled with her brother. And she asked the Creator to turn her around. But she asked for one more thing. She asked that she might have a gift, something to give to him as a sign of peace. So the Creator told her to turn around and to look down. And when she did, all about her feet were these bright red berries in the grass and in the straw. And so she picked them up, as many as she could. And she made her way back. And by she found her brother. And she gave these berries. They were strawberries. And she gave them to her brother as a sign of peace and friendship. And ever since that day, our people have been celebrating the Strawberry Thanksgiving. And we have it during our Strawberry Moon, which is your June. And so we have a celebration. And at that time, everybody gets a clean slate. It doesn't matter what someone did to you. You forgive them during the Strawberry Moon. Everyone is forgiven. Everybody gets a clean slate, right? We should do that every year for everyone, shouldn't we? So I want you to do that. And I want you to eat your strawberry, because that's what we do. We get together, we have a celebration. We have strawberry drink. We have strawberry cornbread. We have strawberry shortcake. We have just plain old strawberries. And we sing and we dance and we celebrate and we just love on one another. But I'm going to tell you something. When you eat your strawberry, you must forgive anyone, everyone, for anything they have ever done to you. And if you have complete forgiveness in your heart when you eat your strawberries, you will never choke on it. So I'm going to leave you with that. I think I went over my time. I am so sorry, Pat.
I love you.
And I will be forgiven in June, won't I? I will pass it on to the next person. You've been wonderful. To Botany, thank you.